You probably believe PNG is sovereign, able to choose its path among nations without interference. What if I tell you Australia is quietly shaping PNG's future through defense, treaties, and strategic levers, so that PNG's choice is limited in ways most people don't see? Stay with me to unpack how recent defense treaties, political pressure, and subtle deals are eroding the idea of full autonomy, and exactly how you should read what's happening now. This is what you'll learn in this commentary: what the Pukpuk Treaty really says and what it implies about PNG sovereignty, how Australia uses military integration, aid, and strategic partnerships not just as cooperation but as levers of influence, the constitutional, political, and international risks PNG faces, how PNG leaders, government, retired generals, public voices are pushing back, and what that reveals. Going back briefly to our historical past, PNG gained independence from Australia in 1975. Since then, Australia has maintained deep ties: trade, aid, security partnerships, cultural links. In recent years, the global power competition, especially between China, Australia, US, has intensified in the Pacific. PNG is squarely in the middle. Now, what is the Pukpuk Treaty, the new defense pushed by Australia during PNG's 50th anniversary? Let's look at the treaty name. The treaty is called the Pukpuk or Crocodile Treaty. Pukpuk is the Tok Pigeon word for crocodile, intended to be a formal mutual defense treaty between Australia and Papua New Guinea. The key clauses under negotiation or proposed are full or total integration of PNG Defence Force, PNGDF, with Australian Defence Force, ADF, shared equipment, interoperability at deeper level, pathways for PNG citizens to join ADF, possibly citizenship or other benefits, mutual defense commitment. If one is attacked, the other is obliged to help. Possibility of restricting PNG's ability to enter deals with third parties, like China, or at least concerns that such deals could conflict with the treaty. The treaty text has been agreed in many respects, but signing has been delayed. PNG cabinet has not fully approved it due to quorum issues. Some ministers also were absent due to 50th independence events. Instead, a joint communique was signed, which mirrors many treaty components but lacks full legal force. How this limits PNG's ability to decide its destiny. These aren't just defense matters. They shape who PNG must align with, how it can act, what freedom remains. Here are ways the treaty and related actions limit PNG's real decision space. On paper, it's "we defend each other." In reality, this binds PNG's foreign policy, forces PNG to consider Australian strategic priorities, might limit independent action without Australian input. Training and sharing are normal, but fully interoperable forces, shared equipment, recruiting PNG citizens into ADF raise questions. Whose command in crisis? What laws apply? What constitutional constraints? If the treaty or related agreements dissuade PNG from entering security arrangements with China or other states, that reduces PNG's room to diversify partners. Australia's funding of a Parliament House extension, offering new programs, joint security frameworks, etc., carry soft power. These create expectations and dependencies. But some do not agree. These are some ways people are resisting or raising alarm. Major General Jerry Singarok warns the treaty may violate the PNG constitution. He argues the constitution does not allow some of the proposed obligations. PM James Marape insists that the treaty is PNG's initiative, that sovereignty will not be compromised. Many PNGs are uneasy about exclusive alliances that might draw PNG into external conflicts or limit its ability to engage China, who remains a major trade and development partner. One commenter on social media said, "PNG is the battlefield. There'll be no war on Australian soil, period." Another said, "Is our PM taking into consideration what we are discussing here about the pros and cons that PNG will face if there is a war? I do not think so, and playing a yes master on ad hoc basis. We cannot all the time be taken as scapegoats." People argue that unless laws or the Constitution are amended, some clauses in the treaty would overstep PNG's legal framework. Why is Australia pushing so hard for this kind of treaty? These are key strategic drivers. 1. Countering China's influence. PNG is central in the Pacific, a key nation that can swing other Pacific nations. China has been investing heavily in infrastructure, trade, aid. Australia wants to prevent PNG from becoming too aligned with China. 2. Geographic proximity and national security. PNG shares maritime borders with Australia, northern approaches, etc. Any instability there directly affects Australia. Having strong defense cooperation helps Australia secure that northern flank. This is something that has been their fear since World War I. 3. Reasserting Australian leadership in the Pacific. As global power competition increases, Australia wants to show it is partner of choice for Pacific nations, delivering aid, security, infrastructure. The treaty is a statement. Australia is still deeply involved. 4. Economic leverage through aid and soft investments. Aid, projects, sports diplomacy, cultural programs all serve as influence tools. PNG's economic dependence in some sectors gives Australia room to shape policies. But it's not what many think. You might think the treaty is simply about protection and modernizing defense. Here's what's deeper. It's not just defense hardware, it's political alignment, foreign policy positions, which global blocs to be in, what kind of partners to accept. It's not only about combating a common threat. Infrastructure, law enforcement, customs cooperation are also being leveraged. It's not permanent neutrality. Stakes are rising such that PNG may be forced into choices between China, Australia, US. Here are concrete steps PNG leaders should consider. 1. Ensure full transparency. Publish the full text of Pukpuk Treaty. Ensure Parliament debates it publicly. Let constitutional lawyers examine it. 2. Guard constitutional limits. If treaty obligations conflict with PNG's constitution, consider amendments or clarify jurisdictions. Define what would count as attack or obligations in all realistic scenarios. 3. Negotiate non-exclusivity clauses. Insist that treaty does not bar PNG from entering other partnerships. Insert language ensuring PNG's freedom to cooperate with any country without conflict with its commitments to Australia. 4. Balance relationships. Maintain strong ties with China, other Pacific nations. Use aid and security deals from multiple sources to avoid overdependence. 5. Engage citizens. Hold public forums. Let ordinary PNG people understand implications. Civil society oversight. 6. Monitor implementation closely. When treaty is signed, monitor how policies change. Track where defense forces are deployed, joint commands, which laws are binding. You should understand the costs to PNG. 1. Loss of foreign policy flexibility. If tied legally or practically to Australia, PNG may find it hard to make independent decisions, especially regarding China or others. 2. Legal and/or constitutional exposed. Constitutional conflicts might arise if treaty obligations clash with existing laws or rights. 3. Dependency risk. Over-reliance on Australian aid, defense support, training may reduce self-sufficiency. If Australia's priorities shift, PNG could be left exposed. 4. Domestic political backlash. Citizens, MPs, civil society may resist perceived loss of sovereignty. This could lead to instability. 5. Geopolitical risk. PNG could be drawn into tensions, Australia versus China, that PNG might prefer to avoid. China has already raised concerns regarding this treaty. Sovereignty isn't just legal, it's about capability, ability to act independently in foreign policy, economics, culture. Many treaties sound good on paper, mutual defense, cooperation, but small clauses or unwritten expectations define real power. Global strategic rivalry, China versus Australia, US, often uses Pacific nations as fulcrums. PNG risks being drawn into someone else's conflict if it doesn't define its own terms. These questions remain. Did we fully consent to every clause that limits our options? Do our legal frameworks protect us against being bound when Australia's interests diverge from ours? Are we preserving our freedom to partner with countries of our choice? Will our children inherit a country free to decide its own path, or one tied by obligations? You deserve a PNG that decides its destiny, not one shaped by powerful neighbors. Stay alert, stay informed, demand clarity. Your future depends on it.